Oh, hello. I didn't see you there. It's time for the Plastic Hearts Podcast,
Ooh, I like
the
that.
show where we break down video game news of the week. My name is Fonzie, and I'm joined by my co-host and sexiest man on earth, Gavin.
Oh, dang.
How was your weekend,
I'll
Gavin?
take it. I thought I was going to be the sexiest man, but I guess not. How's your weekend, Gavin?
It was good. All the EVO.
Yeah, you're big. I was going to mention you're the EVO expert, so that's part of your tagline, too.
I was a little disappointed we didn't get to see Lupe Fiasco.
Like performing or actually playing?
He is a fucking beast.
Gotcha. I didn't know that.
Street Fighter. Yeah, he and at the statement, the Beast, he beat Daigo the Beast. Which, remember that big moment 32 where the guy... Yeah, he beat that guy.
What?
Now, that being said, Lupe Fiasco, like, Daigo doesn't know Lupe, so he can't be ready for that particular player in advance, and he trained crazy hard, but he did, in fact, beat Daigo the Beast.
That's awesome.
There's a lot of context, but, yeah.
I was trying to pull up if he was there at least, or...
I think he had a concert. I want to say there was a concert going on in, like, Seattle or something that weekend.
Gotcha. I didn't realize that. Well, there's other musicians that are actually good, pretty legit gamers. There's like Marshmello. I know he was at that Fortnite
thing. Yeah, he did good.
Yeah, he was actually
he did good. I saw
Ninja.
that. Who else? To no one's surprise, Deadmau5 is fucking bazonkers at video games.
Gotcha.
But he wears that on his sleeves quite literally.
Right.
So.
Yeah, he has a bunch of video game tattoos. That's cool.
Yeah.
So you watched a lot of EVO. Did you play any games?
A little bit of Slay the Spire, but for the most part, no. I really got to get back into Prey. I played that for half the intro.
Oh, yeah. I want to see
out.
your take on that. I still have it. I need to... I forget to put it on and play it.
Yeah.
I did play some Fortnite with my nephew. I jumped in because their season 10 was the big new update. It's the same. It's more Fortnite, but there's just a lot of cool visual stuff. There's this... I'm not sure what it has to do with the story, but there's this huge meteor that's just like frozen as it's gonna, impact the Earth. But
Didn't they do that already?
Apparently, this is the first time I've seen it, but it's like in the actual world, like it's stuck there, but it's frozen in time, so it's just there, about to, hit the world. But it just looks really dope. It's like staticky and molten lava, but it's just like hanging out there. Always you could jump on it.
What? You can get to it?
Yeah, because it's frozen in time, so you can just jump on it and move around. That's the whole thing this time, is that there's little pockets of these time affected areas where stuff slows down, and
interesting.
I always liked their take on the little additions they add to it. I never, I'm not a huge Fortnite player, but I just like that they are changing it up, and the art style is really cool to me. For some reason, that game is super beautiful. Like when you actually play it, and it's scalable, where it's like on Xbox One or like PS4, it just looks awesome.
Oh yeah, it's super pretty.
But I played a little bit of that, and also I downloaded Doom 3 on Switch.
Oh,
it's cool.
Yeah, I imagine it runs pretty good.
Runs fine, yeah. For me, the sticks are always a little wonky when I'm playing first-person shooters, but it's still, you just have to kind of get over that hump.
They don't go quite as far as you'd like them to go.
No, but it's just kind of a trip playing that game, because I remember playing it on Xbox when it came out, but that was a huge PC like performance bench test kind of game that before like the crisis of that.
Oh god,
era. Yeah, and now it's on this handheld.
Yeah. And then people were, I still remember people were coming out with like texture packs to like push it even further.
Oh, nice.
It was pretty dope. Fortnite, I know since this newest thing, they updated the image on Twitch for it.
Okay.
And I don't like it because the
like
guy...
a logo or something?
Yeah, well, so there's the cover art for the game that people sometimes update. And when I see it next to... Oh, that's the other thing. Ninja. Is that in your news?
It is,
yeah, so when you see that cover art next to League of Legends, it confuses my brain because the character looks almost...
this guy? He's like a robot-looking demon, cyber demon?
So that looks almost exactly like Mordekaiser from League of Legends.
Oh.
So when I see that and then I see I'm like, what?
Do you click on it halfway through, you've realized you watched a Fortnite video?
I've made a terrible mistake.
It's been an hour and you're like, what? What's going on here?
Where's Leona? I think that's a character. I've forgotten more about League than I ever knew about it.
Gotcha. But that is one of my stories. Let's get into that.
Fortnite.
That was a pretty big deal.
That's such a weird move.
What do you think it's weird about it? What was your take? So, what's your initial feeling on that?
The fuck is his incentive? Why? He had such a good thing going, and you look at the amount of like with Twitch Prime, People are throwing free money at him.
Gotcha.
Left and right, hand over fist. Kids loved him.
Right.
And I just don't see why. I don't think there is a Twitch Prime on Mixer. I don't think you can get the free money.
That's why I don't understand a lot about Mixer, is that there is some kind of price subscription service point to it, but there's also a free, you can just watch Mixer as well. So there is something, some aspect of that. Not Mixer.
So I don't, aside from a massive pile of cash,
that's
which
my
even
big thing.
then he doesn't need to worry about money. His grandkids don't need to worry about money.
That's true.
So it can't be money.
But it's also, I wonder if this is like, this reminds me of like a big sports move like LeBron or something, where they make these huge transitions to another team. There's a lot of money involved, but I think also it's a new platform. So maybe he has more control over what happens. He has more room to grow. Like with Twitch, he's maybe bigger than Twitch, but that's a huge entity on its own. With Mixer, no one knows about Mixer. Basically, it's like, kids are only becoming hip to it because Ninja's on it. So I think maybe you have more room to actually create your own thing on Mixer, and they pay you a buttload of money.
It's such a weird, and you look at like the top performers on Mixer, it's like him with, I believe his viewer audience was much smaller than it was on Twitch. Which he can't go just directly back to Twitch, by the way. That's the way those contracts work.
Yeah, this one's an exclusive deal too, right?
Yeah. Well, when you sign the partner contract with Twitch, if you start streaming on any other platform, your contract is immediately null and void.
Gotcha. But they can still hold on to any footage that was streamed on Twitch. I imagine they still own that. Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Yeah, but it's God, it's fucking strange.
I think it's as the kids say, he's making moves. He's doing something different. I feel like it'd be weird to keep staying on Twitch. Maybe that's the more comfortable thing, to just stay on Twitch because you know where it's going, you know what it's doing. But I guess maybe if this is a creative move, if you could think about that, because he's just playing games and streaming, he's a creative person, so maybe this is a different new thing he can do.
Yeah, maybe. I think one thing that's definitely interesting about it is the concept of his perspective. Like I've heard him talk before, back when he first got mega famous, kind of talking about his story is kind of cool because he did earn this shit.
Gotcha.
Like
I wasn't aware. I know you mentioned that to me before. Yeah.
Yeah, he's been like, someone asked when he started streaming. He said as soon as streaming was a thing that could be done, he'd been YouTubing, but as soon as YouTubing was a thing, he'd been streaming. As soon as streaming was a thing, he's on every platform like Twitter, Facebook, all these things. And he's been a professional gamer for a very long time.
Gotcha.
And he was full time, but he was struggling streamer. And then just one day he hit it big with Drake and some other things, like with Dr. Disrespect, kind of help him get to where he was. So
there's this era I think we're living now, but started maybe 5 years ago, where these personalities are rising up. Like they've been streaming for a long time, but there's this group of personalities that are like making headway. And when you think of streamers now, there's this group that are streamers and successful at it. But
so that's crazy. It's
a pretty big deal.
Any other opinions on that one?
I mean, I'm just more curious to see what the future holds. But I like this news. Like with last week with not with Twitch, but with Fortnite doing their $3 million payout for the 16-year-old who won the tournament there. I like that there's this growing legitimateness with if that's a word, with streaming and with like pro gamers. Like it's pretty cool to have. Not only is a guy 16-year-old making $3 million winning a gaming tournament, also Ninja, who's a young streamer, is making, I imagine, a huge multi-million-dollar deal with Microsoft. They haven't released the details. That's what I had.
It's got to be a stupid amount of zeros.
Yeah. So I wanted to go they kind of broke down some of the details for us. TheVerge.com, Andrew Webster wrote about it. So as far as like guesstimating some of the just the dollar amounts of the deal, so there isn't any concrete information released about this deal, but with Mixer. But Ninja was making at least $500,000 a month streaming on Twitch. So you can imagine Microsoft has made him a sweet deal. That's just to try and like figure out. But he's got to be making a ton of money.
And he's been doing that for a few years now.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah, it's nuts. Which was also crazy, too. So they had Lollapalooza in Chicago over the weekend. Mm-hmm. He did his first live stream there. They had a Red Bull tent.
Okay. I had no idea where you're coming at with that one.
Right. It's just a fun music festival. But yeah, so that's where he premiered his whole streaming thing, was at a physical, like actual music festival. But that initial stream got 80,000 people watching online. So, I mean, he's doing good and transitioning pretty fair, apparently, to that new side. So
it's strange.
Yeah. I pulled up some just reminders on like this year for him. So Blevins has become a marketing powerhouse, as demonstrated earlier this year when he and select group of other Twitch stars were each paid as much as $50,000 per hour to play online with a new EA game Fortnite competitor Apex Legends, according to Wall Street Journal.
How much per hour?
$50,000 per hour to play online with Apex Legends.
I would never stop.
Right.
Game until my eyes bled.
So he was Blevins himself was apparently paid $1 million for playing the game for hours on his Switch stream. So he secured a different deal. But yeah, there's serious money to be made with these guys. Of course, at the top elite level, but I wonder what that looks like to kids growing up as far as like a legitimate career. It's kind of a weird time where they can go, hey, I could do that, and there's money to be made.
Right.
And like the bottom isn't going to drop out because you have Microsoft blowing tons of money on this, Fortnite, committing tons of money to this stuff. So there really is a future to this kind of thing.
Yeah. It's a hard... I mean, like we were saying a second ago, he's been poor for fucking years.
Right.
So...
Yeah, but he's been poor and struggling in a world that didn't have this as a popular format. But now there's a popular format. So now maybe there's an easier entry for younger streamers to start doing this. And there's places like Mixer who are hungry for creators for content. So
hungry.
Yeah.
I think thirsty is the word for Mixer.
There you go, as the kids say. Yeah.
they needed this. Like they literally, there was nothing less than this that's going to help Mixer take off.
That's true. They made the biggest deal they could.
Yeah. I hope that they get some of the people that moved over to Facebook streaming.
Is that a thing? I didn't realize it.
It's a thing. Some people...
Is my mom streaming on Facebook?
Yeah. Some people made that big switch, and they balls out making that switch, and then nothing came of it. So...
Yeah, okay. So there are people streaming right now on Facebook Gaming.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I didn't realize that was a thing.
Just as many people streaming as people watching, I imagine.
Yeah. But that's the future we're in, where these huge deals are made.
Well, hopefully that does help Mixer.
Yeah. I imagine if that doesn't do it, I'm not sure.
There's literally not, unless you unless you have Drake and like Snoop Dogg and like actual like celebrities on there.
Yeah.
You've got nothing.
Right. So I did also pull up what happened last week with the there's a big leak of these. The ESA had this huge leak on their page. They run E3 and they released a bunch of journalists' personal info. Yeah. So this is from gamesindustry.biz. They write E3 accidentally leaks personal details of journalists, YouTubers, and analysts. Jesus. So it was over 2,000 names were released on that list. And apparently, it's been broken down, but on the homepage, there was a link that anybody could click on that got them that actual PDF file. Yeah. But it wasn't like a hack. It was just a hack. No, it was a YouTuber found that this information was readily available for anyone. And so it's Sophia Norwitz is the one credited for finding that. And they contacted the ESA, they contacted Vice to try and get that information known so it could be taken down.
Right.
So Christopher Dring from gamesindustry.biz writes, the private details of 2025 games industry journalists and video producers have been leaked online. The list was accessible via the website through a download link. Organizers, the Entertainment Software Association, told gamesindustry.biz that they regret the occurrence and have removed the link. ESA was made aware of a website vulnerability that led to the contact list of registered journalists attending E3 being made public.
So we don't know how many people have.
No. As far as like who in detail was released, no. Like there's been various...
Or like if the list, like, is it still out there?
It is. Yeah. So people found it, and there's like... They write that there's websites like 8chan that are like sharing the actual PDF
good. Image. They're who you want to have right now. That's,
so they're encouraging anyone who might have been on the list to like change all your contact info and stuff. So it was like emails, phone numbers, that kind of stuff.
That's terrifying, because some of these people, like... I'm sure plenty of these critics have like had death threats in the past, but now it's like death threat plus your address.
Right.
Like you can send that on a little note.
Yeah.
Like, fuck.
So, and this isn't the first time this has happened. So, there's another release of information on this too. I want to take a second to find it. So it was apparently in 2006 there was just leftover stuff that was the same situation. I'm pulling up a tweet from Sophia Narwitz. That's the person who leaked that original or found that there was that original security leak or whatever. Yeah. So she tweets, I thought I was ready to write my official report on the ESA stuff, but it keeps going deeper. Today, we have already learned that the personal details of the 2004/2006 media attendees was compromised. And also gamesindustry.biz writes about that too. So they kept information, just like this situation, they kept information from 2004, 2006 also accessible from anyone online. Just no one happened to click on it. But yeah. And of course, that stuff, that was from a while ago, so you would assume that information isn't usable anymore.
Right.
But it just shows that they just have someone who's not adept at actually, password protecting all this stuff or providing something where there's a hurdle for people to get this information.
Yeah, that was incredibly dumb.
Yep. So we'll see what they do with that. I wonder if does it make for next year, does it make it harder for these different journalists and like YouTubers, that kind of thing, influencers to show up again, knowing that they're going to be...
Yeah, it fucking does. Right. The fact that we've got 3 years leaked, again, we've got people that have had death threats that now people have addresses. Like that's going to warrant off so many, and E3's been struggling as is.
Exactly. Yeah.
So make it legit hazardous to go to.
Yeah, it's just like a nail in the coffin because I guess they can always bank on people going to the event because people do love going to E3.
Right. And it was just media, but still media is important.
Right. So they're going to get less coverage for these games. And really, the coverage doesn't need to be there in person. A lot of different outlets have their own events around E3. So it's like, you don't have to go there, really.
Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah. That was a bad one.
Yeah, that was a bad one. We'll see how they handle that. I did pull up another article from gamesindustry.biz. This is about so Trump made some comments about video games being the cause of some of these recent mass shootings.
God, that's an old well we're going back to. I feel like we haven't gone back there for a while.
It seems to never go away, but it also has been gone for a while because everyone's like, oh yeah, that has nothing to do with it. But,
well, the scientific articles that came out that were just like, we've tried as much as we can, but there's no link. But you give that to someone who doesn't believe in science.
Sure.
And sir.
Or they don't want their guns taken away, so they go, oh yeah, video games, movies. So this is from gamesindustry.biz. They do lay this out in detail. So following 2 back-to-back mass shootings in the United States this weekend, President Donald Trump has linked the incidents to violent video games, and the International Game Developers Association has responded. The first shooting occurred at Walmart in El Paso, Texas on Saturday and killed 22 people. The second outside a bar in Dayton, Ohio, killed 9. The former shooter is in custody, while the latter was killed by responding officers at the scene. CNN reports that in a statement at the White House today, Trump suggested violent video games had contributed to the weekend shootings. In quote, "We must stop the glorification of violence in our society," he said, listing actions he felt the U.S. needed to take in response. This includes the gruesome and grisly video games that are now commonplace. It is too easy today for troubled youth to surround themselves with a culture that celebrates violence. We must stop or substantially reduce this, and it has to begin immediately. In response, IGDA and the International Game Developers Foundation have issued a joint statement reiterating the claim that there is no evidence that links video games and violence. Oh. Right. It's just kind of I understand their knee-jerk reaction because it seems like this side has no interest in looking into it further. So that's the easiest scapegoat is, violent TV, violent video games.
It is a classic scapegoat. So.
But I mean, in the early 1900s, with comic books, that was an easy scapegoat as well because those were too, graphic and.
Did you say 1800s?
1900s. I was trying to think of like the actual, but that was one of the earlier scapegoats for that.
Right. Yeah.
But it never ends, and whatever the new medium will be, it's going to be attacked. But yeah.
Well, for the record, whenever VR starts getting blamed for it, I'm totally on. Definitely VR's fault. Yeah. Well, it's
It's a bummer.
That's a bummer.
Yeah, I've always been able to. I think there is a reality where you do want to make sure that kids of a certain age don't have access to every video game because like there's a ratings things for a reason.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it doesn't mean that someone plays Call of Duty and then wants to go commit violence. Like it's
right.
And there's other games too. Like there's not just shooting games. They tend to take over as far as what popular games are. But Mario is a huge character. Like come on, kids talk about Pokemon all day.
Goddamn Pokemon.
Yeah, Pokemon might be playing for something, but I don't know if it's that. But
it's definitely animal fighting rings. It's definitely what.
Yeah, kids play that and they go, "Oh, I need to make my own boxing or a dog fighting ring."
Exactly, my Growlithe. I think that's a dog Pokemon. I'm probably wrong.
You're probably wrong, Gavin. So, Gavin, tell me about this EVO thing that happened.
Well, let me tell you about this EVO. Wow, that's the bad accent to do. My bad.
It's like a prospector.
Can we bleep out the Bill Cosby? Good God.
There's always like a hint of Bill Cosby in some of your accent, so I would just leave it.
It sucks because it's like a goofy voice to do, and like clearly when he did it, like it was a goofy voice, but then now you just can't go back to it. EVO was really, really good this year. It was the first year that Smash ever headlined, and that was unique because you didn't know how the community was going to take it, and they took it very well.
Gotcha.
Which was great. Some super exciting matches. There were so many tiers. I fucking loved it. Like the guy that so you have pulled up right there, Dragon Ball Z. The second he fucking won, and he was fighting like it was such a tight match.
Gotcha.
And this guy is fighting up against
the Sonic Fox?
Sonic Fox, who's a fucking prodigy, and he's won more EVOs than he knows what to do with. Like he doesn't need that win, but he's still trying his hardest for it. And the second this guy beat him, it was just instant broke down in tears.
Right.
And it was such a beautiful moment because you love to watch like the super.
I did see this being shared. Yeah, this reaction.
Yeah,
it's pretty. It's beautiful. I mean, and then they embrace each other. There's like a sportsmanship.
Sonic Fox is the best sportsman. Like that's what people have said about him. Like if he wasn't such a good sport and so likable, he'd be the best villain. In all of fighting game scenes. But this is that guy. Like he may be hurting inside, but he's still gonna do that. I did like that he kind of was like, wee,
but it was pretty tense up until this moment.
Yeah, and like, well, it was just, it was the fight, and it was so incredibly tight. It was anyone's game.
Gotcha.
That was an amazing one. And then, of course, Sonic Fox, who I'm always on his side, he came back and won Mortal Kombat.
I did hear that,
which is going back to his roots. That's where he made his name, was Mortal Kombat.
Gotcha.
So for him to come back and take that was a big deal. It was good to see him. I think people had said he hadn't won for MK in like 2 years.
Oh, really?
So... yeah,
this is with MK11 too, which just came out.
Yes. And it was also fun to see him playing against like his old main. So he was playing up against like, not in the finals, I don't think, but he was playing up against Aaron Black, which Aaron Black, he used to mop the floor with people with Aaron Black. So him kind of taking out that, it was really good.
Well, when you mention that, is there these characters within the fighting game community that like they have their peak and they kind of go to the background, or they always kind of stick around, like that guy Aaron Black? Do you notice like a prime for them?
It just depends from game to game.
Gotcha.
Because that's, like you look at Fox, people mention with the new Smash that this is his weekest he's ever been.
I didn't see him in the top 5. I did bring I have this
I
listing.
can't remember if he made it. He may have made it to top 8.
Yeah, so IGN has the top 7, and he's not in the top 7. So.
Yeah, like Fox is the weakest he's ever been. He's still a good character. He made it really far.
Yeah.
But he's not, it's not like it used to be where you're watching matches of Fox against Fox and then another Fox against Fox. Another Fox against Fox, and I just throw my computer out the window. Because that's why I hated Melee. It was just a Fox fest.
Yeah. Well, also like with the actual players, like you mentioned this. I see what you mean with the Aaron Black guy. I wonder with these actual fighters, like say Sonic Fox with this Goji character, if they experience a prime in their time playing, or they always kind of kick around, in the same tournaments, like they're always around.
So this is something I brought up once on stream, and I got fantastic feedback about this with the primes. Is fighting games you're not splitting your attention span. And that's what we found with esports is the more you're splitting your attention span, the younger you have to be to play. That's why you see people playing League of Legends or StarCraft and they age out.
Gotcha.
They stop playing past a certain age. But with fighting games, you get some old ass people in there.
Like you can focus on one part that's complicated gameplay, but it's like it's structured and you can focus on that.
Yeah, it's that execution. It's a lot of these are reading your opponent, knowing your opponent, predicting them. You don't have to be paying attention to 2,000 things at once. So you get these older guys in there, and there's certainly waves like you see. It may have been last EVO or the EVO before that, where a guy used to be really good, and then he kind of went away, and then he came back, and everyone was rooting for him, and he won EVO, and it was a fantastic storyline.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's really just
that.
A part of it too is can you keep up with the game? So a new game comes out,
Right.
they change a lot of things. Maybe the newest version of Street Fighter is not your game.
Right.
Maybe you want to transition over to Mortal Kombat and try and take that. So can you roll with the punches?
Alrighty, Gavin.
Well, that was good.
There's also
Smash was amazing.
Yeah.
Tekken was really cool because it put Pakistan on the map.
Right. Yeah. I didn't
was big.
See the details on that, but yeah. So the champion was Masato Bonchin Takahashi, or that was Street Fighter.
Street Fighter was,
yeah. So I remember the Ash guy, Arslan Ash.
Yeah, he was. Holy shit! This guy could not. He played his heart out. It was really cool. And it was weird though, because like when it was happening, people were talking him up like this guy's coming out of nowhere, and he kind of did. Yeah. But also at the same time, when they announced him, they're like, okay, EVO Japan and now EVO America winner. It's like, so did he not come from nowhere? Because if you won EVO Japan, that's almost as big a deal.
I would imagine, yeah.
So you're not going to get as many players. But Japan's no slouch when it comes to...
Right.
They've never been a slouch when it comes to fighting games.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, I did. I came across this article. I didn't pull it up originally, but so PC Gamer wrote about him. So
yeah, Unstoppable is fucking right.
Yeah. So the best story was Unstoppable Rise of Pakistani Tekken player Arslan Ash. I want to say that's Arslan Ash, right?
Yeah, I forget.
Yeah, I know there's issues with like a visa that was denied or something. Like apparently he had to go through a lot to even get to be able to play. But then not let that kind of bog him down and still go and win the Tekken. That's awesome. Yeah,
that was pretty good. I know there was one thing that was a little frustrating is there was a little bit of controversy with Smash. The winner is basically a brand new character. So people are like, he's not fucking balanced. And that's why he won. So there was a bit of controversy. And he did legitimately look unstoppable.
Really?
So that was kind of too bad that's...
It doesn't show me the character this person used, but it's Leonardo MK Leo Lopez was the winner of the Smash Ultimate.
And it is spelled Leo, but it is Leo. Just for the record.
Gotcha.
But yeah, I think coming out of Mexico, so we got Mexico on the board, which nice. Mexico has an okay representation in the fighting game scene, but not as big as it could be. Certainly not as big as they do in Gears. They fucking kill it in Gears.
Gotcha.
But we got a little bit of representation there. But yeah, people are not happy about Joker winning that one, and I could yeah, it was a little weird watching him just wreck through people.
Really?
And the question the commentators kept saying is like, he is the question. Does anyone have the answer?
Gotcha.
And the inevitability was no one had the answer.
Right.
So the guy that almost beat him at the end, like Tweak, God bless him, like he stopped playing a fucking cheesy character, and that's what I think that's part of the reason a lot of people didn't like Tweak.
Yeah.
Because I think he was playing Pichu or something like that.
Okay.
He moves a million miles an hour. He's super cheesy. He just doesn't look fair.
Gotcha.
And he was playing Pokemon Trainer, which honest to God is a square fight.
Yeah.
And it's cool that depending on his health and your health, that he changes out which Pokemon he's playing and adapts. But at the end of the day, it's still a fair fight. He's just fighting you depending on the situation.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
Is there any? I wonder if some of these the actual players, will they kind of change their loadout, their character based on who they're playing, or do they kind of train with this one character they're going to play no matter what, or does it
Both.
kind of? Gotcha.
It depends on the player. Some people play one character no matter what.
Yeah.
Some player have a backup, and it just depends. And you certainly saw that even in top 8, people. I'm trying to remember somebody. Oh, it was Tekken, where the guy trying to take out the guy that won. Like he was just whipping out characters out of his because he couldn't. Like the other guy was adapting,
right?
So he's trying to switch him up, get him off his toes, or get him on his toes, and
couldn't do it.
Yeah, couldn't do it.
Well, you mentioned with the this guy using Joker. Is there any kind of honor or like? Is there influence where somebody might not use a character that is, say, unbalanced because there's an unfair aspect to it, or do they all just want to win and are going to seek out these best characters?
I think the trick with that is Joker is new enough that it would be hard to know him at an expert level and take him to EVO. He's not super new, clearly.
Right.
This guy destroyed the field with him. But, yeah, it feels a bit icky.
I see.
With that. And if he was going to not be played, it would have had to have been EVO itself that banned him from play. So, but they didn't allow, like, I to my knowledge, they didn't allow the newest character, Hero, in there.
Okay.
But also no one would want to play him. He just released. And also apparently he's super RNG.
What does that mean?
Random number generator. So I think one of his moves is random.
Oh, I imagine you don't want that in a tournament.
I wouldn't think so. There are Robin players, and Robin is random, to my understanding.
Okay.
But I don't know. It was cool. It was also cool seeing every single top 8 player on a different character, which this is the best Smash for that. You've got such a big variety. Wario almost taking it was so cool to see. Like, Wario's legit now.
Yeah.
So
interesting.
It was fun.
That's really cool. So that was Smash, that side of it. Tekken, Street Fighter. Any kind of notes on the Street Fighter one? Street Fighter 7?
I've never found Street Fighter fun to watch.
Yeah.
I did errands during Street Fighter.
Gotcha. There were some newer fighting games that I'm not super familiar with. Like, is it Blaze Blue?
Blaze Blue is really fun.
Okay.
It's good to watch. These anime fighters are super fun to watch.
Gotcha. I imagine they're kind of flashy and just a lot's going on the screen.
Super flashy. It's also tends to be very clear what's happening. So even if you have no idea what's going on, you still know what's going on.
Gotcha.
So, and all the characters have like different mechanics.
Okay.
So
there's also Under Night in Birth.
Oh God. That was cool. That one's cool.
Game?
Yeah. Some of these anime fighters have really weird names, and that's just one of them.
I feel like I don't want to live in a world where they don't have the weird names because I like that part of it.
Yeah. They get longer and harder to pronounce.
This one I haven't seen. I might have heard of it. Samurai Showdown.
Yeah, it's
cool.
It's brand new. This game is brand new, made it to EVO. A lot of people liking it. I find it a bit frustrating to watch because it really feels like nothing's happening.
I see.
And either the characters deal stupid amounts of damage or their health bars are very small. So like there's not really that much happens per round. So as a person, I think it's a very technical fighter.
Gotcha.
And if you really know your stuff in fighting games, but I could care less about it.
Right. I imagine, how do they actually choose the games being featured in EVO? Because you want to balance these technical games, but also something that's streamable, that's watchable in the first place. Like, you gotta strike a balance. I
imagine it's a tough decision. I think part of it is the hype level. Like, I still remember in the amount of people that are willing to enter to play it.
That's true.
Yeah, so that's why Smash took over, because it had a lot of hype. It's brand new.
Yep.
So that had hype. It still always makes me sad that the year that Killer Instinct stopped being played, because I still think that was the most enjoyable fighting game to watch in the universe.
Yeah, I never got to play that newer one, but it looked really cool. Yeah,
it's nuts. And I didn't even realize, I was watching someone play recently, and he mentioned how they had to rework this whole sound system so the music changes dynamically to what's happening on screen.
Oh, okay.
And like, I'm just like, yep, that's exactly what happens. The music is always the most epic thing on planet Earth.
Really? That's a good idea. I never really thought about keeping up with that side of the actual action.
Well, it's almost impossible to do. So how do you design it? And I don't know how they did it, but it's amazing.
It's got to be keeping up with just like a fast pace too, like be able to change on the fly and move around based on what's going on screen. Yeah,
it's crazy. Also, they got like some crazy awesome composers. Like they got Cell Dweller. He was big back in like the 90s, maybe late 80s, but he's really talented and somehow still looks 20. That DJ life, man, it keeps him young. Have you seen Darude of Sandstorm fame?
No.
He still looks like he's 25. Like,
Gotcha.
right.
Well, they're not putting a whole lot of effort too. If they kind of save their energy by doing more,
Some of them no.
Play on the keyboard and then walk
Yeah,
away.
exactly.
I do like how in the
got his first zone out, got his fursuit.
Gotcha. Yeah, this I just like how they have this background in MK11 where it's like made for tournaments where you can. I imagine they can change what the exact details are because it says EVO in the background.
Yeah, I think that's just a regular stage, but they changed up the decorations a little
Gotcha.
bit. I know they've done that for Street Fighter. This stage, I can't believe they play on this stage because the interactables in the background are randomized.
Oh,
So you don't know what you're going into.
gotcha.
But I didn't really see people using a lot of interactables.
Well, I like that aspect to it. So everyone can train all day like, they should for the game they're playing. But I like that there's a little bit of chance or randomness just to make sure we're getting players who can handle the stuff, the changing on the fly. Like I feel like that's a good barometer of their skill as well. They can deal with, a change in level or stuff that's randomized.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Nice.
Some of the announcements were good. There's some new game. I honestly thought it was a Fire Emblem fighting game. I don't remember what it was called, but it was absolutely gorgeous. The new, I think it was a Blaze Blue that was announced, was just an absolute stunner. Yeah,
there was another pretty big fighting game that was teased there too.
Was there?
Yeah, I feel like I just remember little snippets of it online.
The snake.
Yeah, did you see this as it happened? Or
You couldn't see it from the stream, so this is the only way you can see it is like cell phone footage.
So I haven't actually heard what the confusing thing was. Apparently they teased like a snake's voice during Tekken.
Yeah, with what's his name? Harada?
I can't play it from the beginning.
Yeah, I think on the...
So it was meant to be kind of a joke.
Was it? Or is Snake showing up in Tekken?
No, so I pulled up the article from Kotaku. Just to clear things up, the Snake cameo video that was shown during the Tekken finals was our idea of a little joke, EVO's statement says. It was not intended to imply a character reveal and was done on our own without consulting Bandai Namco. Sorry for the confusion.
But here's the thing, and this is something that Bandai Namco has dug themselves into a hole for, is they have just lied.
Oh, really?
So when Harada's like, I'm not going to EVO this year. I know you guys expect an announcement every year, but I'm not even there. Nothing is getting announced.
Yeah.
And then he showed up.
Gotcha.
And then he was like, all right, well, I'm here. So that was a surprise. And then he walks off. And then he gets back on stage and does his announcement.
Okay.
So it's funny because like his slogan is "Don't ask me for shit," and he's like shown up wearing T-shirts on that, just like I don't owe you guys anything. But at this point, it's very clear that he's still going to give us what we want. So for a guy that likes to play this troll, play this hard ass, he's not being very much of a hard ass.
Yeah, he's like, I'm not gonna do it. All right, here you go.
You guys.
Yeah.
He's like the begrudging dad at this point.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
Fine, I'll come to your ballet recital. But I'm not bringing cookies. Or at least the one.
Well, I got cookies, but next time I'm for sure not making as many.
Yeah. So that was a great.
That was pretty big weekend. Yeah. So how long are they streaming these games for? Is it all weekend? Is it?
God, it was all weekend. It was most of Friday. A good chunk of Saturday. I think they started at like 12 Saturday. They started kind of late, and Saturday was just all Saturday. They started at 10. Ended. This was nice. This is my first time, or maybe my second time being back since I'm in this time zone. It is such a pain in the ass to watch in another time zone because they go to almost midnight.
Gotcha.
And just being like, I remember being back in Chicago. I'm like, it's 3. I don't even like Street Fighter. I just want to know who wins.
Yeah, will you keep up on like some of the overview stuff after it happens, or you like to kind of watch it as much as you can as it's unfolding? And not just wait till the next
for me,
day.
it's while it's happening.
Gotcha.
Those storylines are so much more powerful when you're seeing it happen. Like hearing that, that one little kid from Israel? No.
Which guy?
Pakistan. The little kid from Pakistan coming at it like hearing later that an underdog won it. Won it, yeah. Like that's pretty neat. But watching it happen, being on the edge of your seat and seeing it unfold before you is just like so much more tense because it's really anyone's game Or seeing an almost turnaround or a turnaround. How have we gone to Halo here?
Oh, I was just pulling up some future articles here.
Okay.
It has nothing to do with what you're talking about.
Why is she so familiar?
She's, for some reason, I'm thinking this is Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, but it's not her. It is somebody else. But we're looking at a picture of this actress. There was some Halo TV news. They announced that they're kind of casting the cast for that show, and then it's going to be an actual show in 2021.
I didn't know it was going to be a thing.
Yeah. So it's for either Netflix or some kind of streaming service. But so
people are going to take it exactly as serious as they did last time this happened.
Yeah, it's been locked in like development hell for a while, right? Like it's been thrown around.
Well, there was a YouTube series, and it was supposed to be really good.
Oh, okay.
But I just
was there?
I can't be asked.
Yeah, some of the I don't know, unless it's done really well. I kind of
and I think it was. I think it got good reviews, but
okay.
Who all watched it?
Right. I didn't know it was even a thing. So it's for Showtime.
This is or the last one?
This one will be for Showtime.
Okay.
Yeah. So they just announced that 6 new actors will be in there, and they cast Cortana, and that's who the actress we're talking about. So Natasha McElhone. Yeah.
That'll be. I mean, at the end of the day, it all comes down to who can play Chief. Have they ever shown his face?
No, and I think I imagine they're gonna keep up with that mantra and not show him. So she's playing Cortana, but also Catherine Halsey, who's the like human version of Cortana. Like Cortana's based on that actual doctor. I think her AI is based on it.
Oh, okay.
So she's double acting as those two characters. But yeah, I don't think they've announced Master Chief yet. But
Master Chief has like a super deep voice, right?
He does, yeah, and it's always been the same actor. So if they don't show his face, they can always get that actor, to be in
right.
Or maybe this doesn't feature Chief as much.
Has his voice acting ever been that good? Like, part of me is like, can we throw an Idris Elba in there?
I think they don't give him a lot of room to actually perform with Chief's character. But I think that's maybe just part of his character in general, and everyone else around him, especially Cortana and some of the last ones. She's like giving these full blown performances. And Chief's just like, who do I shoot? He's just kind of stiff. Yeah.
Oh no, Cortana's gone bad.
Yeah.
I guess I'll shoot Cortana.
Oh, he's just a caveman in the future.
Now it's just got me thinking of that really cool commercial they had where like the city's collapsing and all the Marines are trying to huddle out like the kids and the women and children and Master Chief's just running through the city not giving a fuck. It's like, nope. Murdering somebody on the other side of the city.
Yeah, but so that's happening.
Youngblood.
Yeah, I don't know if you got to. I guess you didn't say you didn't play it, but
I hear it was okay.
Yeah. So I pulled up the Metacritic. I don't know if we talked about this last week, but they have a kind of not bad Metascore, but there was some kind of a lot of reviewers it was kind of lackluster to them apparently.
Yeah, I think the thing that sucks about that score is like. A lot of times, a lot of people are like, oh, 7.5 is garbage, which is like 7.5. Right. It sounds like if this game is what people say it is, like it's all right.
It's good. And it's not a full-blown $60 either. I think that does.
I didn't know that.
Account. Yeah, so it's like a $40 because it's like a side DLC kind of thing. I don't think you need the actual game to play this one either.
Huh?
Yeah. So Game Informer gave it an 85, which is not bad. GameSpot 80. Then it goes down to, I know IGN gave it sort of a lower one. But,
oh, boy. They
70s.
gave it an 8?
Yeah. 65, which isn't terrible. But it was, I guess some of the acting or the characters aren't as developed as, like, say, the last one, where, like, it was really just a showcase of, it was like a Quentin Tarantino movie as a game.
Yeah.
But, yeah, I'm still down to play it. I do want to play it.
That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I looked that one up too because I thought you were down to get it. I was like, I wonder if that has crossplay, and disappointingly enough, it does not.
You know what does have crossplay coming up is the new Call of Duty. So there's a beta that's going to happen. I want to say it's September, but it's crossplay across PC and console. So they're going to allow that for the beta, and then the actual game has that too. So we should actually totally play that together.
Yes.
I was watching some of so they got to release footage, and it was there was like an early impression embargo that lifted over the week. And they showed.
They did a big Twitch showcase.
They did,
of it,
yeah. That's
and I
where
watched
they
2 hours, and not much happened in 2 hours.
Gotcha.
Apparently, I missed the Battlefield mode announcement.
Yeah, where there's like tanks and stuff. Like that was pretty interesting. What do you think of the initial reveal? Like, I feel like right off the bat, the visuals are just like a legit step up. They're always kind of like small increments, but this one's like it's a new engine.
It's very impressive.
Yeah.
It's still there's always this weird Call of Duty lighting that always bugs me. It just feels like the character models are always lit like a little bit too much on a side that they're not supposed to be lit, and it gives it this very Call of Duty feel.
Well, there's something it's like a tagline they keep promoting. It's called photogrammatic lighting or something to do with like photorealism in the textures. There's an actual word they keep throwing around. It's like photogrammatic, photo something. Oh. But that's how they're doing the models and stuff. And apparently the lighting's a totally different lighting system. But yeah.
But it looks the same.
To me, it looks better. But that's just me also getting super hyped for it.
Yeah.
They did show off some of the multiplayer stuff where there's these cool new modes where I think it just breathes new life where you're using night vision. And apparently with the overhaul of the light engine that they have now, the reflections and stuff are super realistic. So you have your night mode in a certain multiplayer map where when you aim, that's what initiates your like red dot sight. So if you just don't aim, you're invisible almost, whether you have your night vision goggles. But so you have to tactically know when to aim so you don't give away your position all the time because everyone has these night vision goggles.
I think that's based in reality. Like
it might be because you can't. Yeah,
I forget how that would. It's like just like a toggle with your thumb or something like that. I'm forgetting.
And the night vision goggles see that, so it's this play of like when do you show yourself, when do you not. But also on the map, you can turn on the lights, so like you can confuse the other teammate or other team members.
Oh yeah, you'd be blinded.
Right, and so you're blinded for a while, so it's realistic in that way. I just liked that whole like change to the game modes. And there's like these smaller maps you're focusing on. There's bigger maps like that battle mode you're talking about. It looks pretty legit.
I thought something that was cool they showed off was the mounting system where you...
Oh, with your gun.
Yeah, you set it kind of... It's almost like a cover system, but not really.
Right. I guess you get more stability. There's less kickback when you like mount it to the side of the wall or something.
Yeah.
I think it's like you resting on it, right?
That's how they described it. And they're like, I mean, soldiers really do this. Like they, they're going to fire. They brace up against the wall. It's like, well, duh, of course they do. That makes total sense. Why would you not?
Yeah.
You've got a massive cannon in your hands.
Yep. Yeah, there's so much vibration and shaking. You want to brace it somehow.
Yeah.
They did take some heat for this white phosphorus. I don't know if you heard about that. So
Isn't it a war crime?
It is. To use in real life, it is. Yeah. So it's one of the multiplayer streaks. So you can unlock that where it's this. It basically looks like this kind of smoke or dust, and it damages the other person, the other characters. But is it an ill taste because it's a real thing that people use? I guess the government has used it before.
Oh yeah,
and has
just shut like you can't cross that line.
Right, and it apparently burns skin for a long time. It's like really nasty stuff. So maybe it's not the best time to use it in a game where it's like it's trying to make it more fun, or it's trying to like not take it as seriously by using something like a debris like that, a material like that. At the same time, when people are dumb, right? So when you get to include something like that in a game and show that it does damage, at least that's going to leak into our minds and we're going to recognize, oh, white phosphorus. Oh, I remember that from Call of Duty. Oh, it's something that's super nasty. It just gets in our collectiveness a little bit. There's also that side to it too.
Can we talk about how the white phosphorus, which is a war crime, is upsetting, but using a nuke is somehow better?
Yeah.
Like that's a million times worse.
Well, it's always this balance of they're playing on reality with actual weapons being used in real war situations, and making it a game that you play for fun. So how do you balance those two things and be realistic and still fun at the same time?
I think part of it might be that I believe white phosphorus was used not that long ago.
Yeah, I know it's by our own government too.
Yes,
I want to say even
it was
in
us. We shut down half a city with it, if I remember correctly. So that's going to be fresh in people's minds, I guess.
Right. And in multiplayer, it can be maybe more silly where it's like maybe not the best time. But if it's in the single player, you use it, you show the grayness of your own country using that on other people and the reality of how it reacts to their bodies and stuff. I feel like that's where you can use that as a learning example, as a way to teach people like, hey, there's some realities to this war, to wars in general. And even our own country has used these horrible things just as a way to teach this next generation. And not like lean into it. But with multiplayer, that's where it gets weird, where it's like for fun, you're dropping this on a 14-year-old who's eating Doritos or something.
Right. Well, and that could be the cool, like we talked about, like bringing back that shock and awe moment that every Call of Duty likes to have. It's hard to do that anymore. You can't just redo the nuke. We're all desensitized to the nuke.
Right.
Like the No Russian scene was pretty damn rough. And then the following games was like, oh, they poisoned a crowd. And I was like, I don't
See, that's where it kind of fell off for that.
So watching, like, seeing people, like, if you're hiding in a building as this white phosphorus is coming in and women and children are trying to hide in your building and their skin is on fire, that's going to haunt people's dreams.
And that's where it's like, it's not making light of it. It's actually somewhat taking it seriously, where it's like, it's showing how big of a deal it is, and it's not done just for entertainment purposes. There's a reason why they're artistically showing that. So it's done in movies all the time.
Right.
So it's always weird when you're the person as the player. That's where it gets a lot of scrutiny when they do stuff like that. But
it'd be interesting to see, like, if we're gonna go down that road, like, what other terrible now out, like, war crime weapons. Like, there was this shell they used to use to disable tanks that basically had pierced the armor and get into the main chamber.
Exploded from the inside.
And then I think it was like uranium, so it just microwaves people in there, basically. Like, some of the stuff that's one of the things that people don't realize is being in a tank is honestly the most dangerous place on the battlefield, even though it shouldn't be.
Gotcha.
But that's why a lot of times they bring in the tanks the last. Because they are kind of a sitting duck, even though they can move at 80 miles an hour.
Gotcha. And they're heavily armored, but they're also, sitting duck, and they're a target now because they're a freaking tank.
Right, yeah.
Not related at all to what you're saying, but I watched recently, for the first time in a long time, it was...
Zombieland. I'm glad you came around, dude.
I will never watch that movie. Not MASH, but it was a remake of another... It was A-Team, the remake of A-Team.
Oh, that movie was fun.
It's fun. There's a scene where they're in a tank and they're using it to shoot around. They're using the momentum of the tank firing to shoot while they're in the air. There's like somebody parachutes a tank, or they're a tank that's just falling out of the sky.
Yeah, I can barely remember
the tank
this.
To actually move around in like 3D space, and then they shoot it down to slow themselves from hitting the water. And it's just the most ridiculous thing. And when they're shooting it, it's like not that loud inside the tank, and they're just like talking and having a blast. And I'm like, inside, somebody has to load this gun first of all.
Yeah.
You have to have the ammo there. It's super loud, and they have a bunch of room. They're just chilling and stuff. But I just, when you talk
have a bunch of room in a tank?
In the movie, yeah. So when you mentioned the reality of a tank, I was thinking of that movie, and it's very silly, but yeah.
Yeah, I think there's this one comic series I need to check out. I think it's called like Tank Boys or something like that, about being...
There's Tank Girl. I remember that movie.
This is more like a realistic like depiction of like World War, I want to say II, like a tank battalion, and basically how fucked they were.
Gotcha.
Maybe it was called Tank Boys.
Interesting.
Yeah, but I honestly have high hopes for this new Call of Duty. I'll probably get it.
I'm very excited for it. It seems like them really a big callback to that first Call of Duty Modern Warfare, where they were kind of... It was just such a new setting, and they were just doing this really cool stuff with the tech, and I feel like they're replicating that. Because it's hard to rebrand or refresh Call of Duty at this point. It's been so long, and they've gone futuristic.
Been no breaks.
Right. And so this is, I'm actually pretty excited for this. Apparently, they haven't confirmed yet whether there'll be a blackout or equivalent of that in this game, as far as like the Battle Royale mode. You'd have to imagine they would, but maybe they'll focus more on these like intimate multiplayer maps and like traditional multiplayer maps.
Here's the question. Can they literally copy paste Blackout into this and make it so people who currently have Blackout can play with this new crowd? Because that'd be fantastic.
That's interesting. I wonder if they put everything on the board and it's like, we can have crossplay, or we can try and retrofit the old Blackout into this game, or they go, we have enough time and energy, let's just do crossplay and leave Blackout on its own. But I don't think it'd be a stretch to include them. But you also want to incentivize people to buy the next game. That's a reality, right? So maybe you don't want to. But
with those Battle Royale modes, like, you need your numbers as high as humanly possible.
That's true.
So that's why crossplay with Fortnite and all that stuff is such a big deal. You don't have to wait for a match. The match is it's ready for you as soon as you popped out of your last one.
Yeah, that's true. They confirmed also there's no pay wall for like the new DLC stuff with the multiplayer. It's all just included.
Have they not done that before?
They haven't. So in the past, you'd have to pay for different maps releasing, and like they would give you different stuff on your gun, that kind of thing. But now it's like you buy the game. There's no season pass, basically.
Right. So how are they going to make the extra money? Because this game is expensive.
Yes.
It's not selling like it used to.
Yeah.
they're going to need more than just that $60. How are they making that?
I think they will, and I think they just haven't revealed that yet. And I think it will be more cosmetic stuff. They're just going to flood the market, I imagine, with that.
Right.
I feel like they're taking a play out of Fortnite's book where they're going free as far as like the season pass aspect of it, and they'll try and just get you by the enticing you with other stuff that you can add on to your gun. So they did in some of the breakdowns. They showed a new mode with multiplayer is you're collecting these like add-ons and attachments for your gun. So almost like remember Crysis where you'd pull up your gun and you could move stuff on the fly. It's kind of like that
really
where
cool.
That's the focus. It's almost like a gallery for the gun that you have, and you can just manipulate all these different little odds and ends, scopes and attachments. And I wonder if that will be the cosmetic thing, the focus on the actual like all these different odds and ends you can buy.
It'd be a lot of fun.
There will be something that you buy for sure.
Yes.
I just wonder what it will be. Are we going to be doing the floss or, as you're sprinkling white phosphorus? I don't know if that's the best mix of things, but we will be buying stuff for sure.
Yeah.
Yep. But I'm pretty stoked for that. That is this year. That's this November-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's going to be cool.
It's going to be cool. Pretty stoked. Gavin, I think that's all I got for you this week.
Sweet.
Yes. We'll end it there.
What is that?
It was Tank Boys. Or boys tank tops at Target. That's what I clicked on.
Oh my god.
Tank Boys. Tank Girl is a movie I never actually watched all the way through, but it's based on.
But you'll never forget the cover art for it, will you?
Yeah, it was the chick on the tank. I think she was like a cool punk rock looking girl. Yeah, I always remember that being awesome.
I passed that about 1 million times in Blockbuster, and it makes you turn your head every time. Like, what is this movie about? It looks badass.
Right, and it's based on a cartoon, or not a cartoon, an actual comic too.
Yeah,
I know Megan's really big into it.
And it looks like that cover looks like it's ripped off of like a Gwen Stefani.
Exactly. It's like a
album.
No Doubt cover.
Yes, No Doubt. More specifically, No Doubt. It's such a badass cover.
And also there's like some Gorillaz influence like later on from the Gorillaz. Did you get that vibe? Or this is them actually a take on that whole thing.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That's where I was like, oh, there's some Gorillaz stuff in there too.
Yeah.
But yeah. I'll have to go watch that now.
Yeah.
All right, again, we'll end it there. Where can they find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at DrunkDevs.
Nice. And you can find me on Twitter as well, Fonzie Pants. And then the page for our podcast is Twitter as well. It's Plastic Heart Pod on Twitter. All righty, guys. We'll see you next week. Bye-bye.